All right, everybody. Can everyone hear us?
Can you hear all of us?
Can you hear us out there in
the interland?
In the interwebs. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, there we go. We can hear. Very good. Awesome. Well.
Great. And we're back.
And we're on. Just having some first day technical difficulties, but the good news is we are in business. So, first of all, welcome to Intrepid Studios. Thank you guys for tuning in here on the stream. We are absolutely just can't even believe
thrilled
that this Kickstarter is doing as well as it is. I mean, the outpouring of support from you guys has been unbelievable. We really are passionate MMORPG players, and having the ability to resonate with fellow gamers such as yourselves in the project that we're doing here with Ashes of Creation is very satisfying. We've been working on this project now for what?
1.5.
14, 15 months?
Yep.
Yeah, 14, 15 months almost. We've put our heart and soul into this project, and we're getting places very fast. We're looking to have, I believe we're having our Friends and Family Alpha, and our weekly drawing Alpha will be at the end of this year. Mm-hmm. We are getting a lot of stuff ready for this month to show you guys some new systems that you actually haven't even heard of yet. One of which I know many of you are wondering about is the monster token system. Mm-hmm. Yep. We're going to be answering some questions today from the stream chat. So, anything you guys have on your mind, questions that you have, feel free to ask us when we get to that segment. But before we get started in showing some things, we're actually going to play our Kickstarter video. We had a fun time filming it, and none of it, funny fact, little tidbit of information, none of it was scripted, actually. The entire video was off the cuff. So, we queued topics, and we, myself, Jeff, Peter, we just went talking about those topics. So, we're going to go ahead and cue to that video now, and then when we come back, we'll answer some questions. Oh, can everybody still hear us? We good? Good for sound. Good for sound, yes. Testing, 1, 2. All right, good. Okay. You guys can hear us.
All right.
Okay, so that was our Kickstarter video. We gave a pretty thorough synopsis, I guess, of Ashes of Creation and what our overview of the core pillars of our design were. We had a scheduled guest for today, but we're going to pick that guest up on our Wednesday stream, where I assure you there will be absolutely no technical difficulties. That's going to be at 3 p.m. on this coming Wednesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And right now we're going to field some questions from you guys on the stream. If you have questions about some of the things you saw in that video or about the Kickstarter itself, myself and Peter and Jennifer are here to answer some of these questions.
We definitely want to reiterate just how grateful we are and how psyched we are to have you with us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We are just in awe. We're in awe of the positive support and feedback that we've gotten from all of you. It is truly amazing. Truly amazing. Jennifer, give us our first question that you saw in chat.
Extra Salsa asked, what will the Phoenix Aura look like from the Kickstarter package?
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, so the Phoenix Aura in the game is going to be a particle effect mm-hmm. that surrounds your character mm-hmm. in kind of like a glowy fashion.
Right. Kind of like a glowy, fiery...
Right. Yeah, a little bit of a fire aura that will make your character stand out from other players in the game, really, for the most part.
Yeah.
And it'll be toggleable. You can turn it on and off.
Right. We don't want the particle effects to clog up everybody's screen all the time.
Right. Absolutely. So. Yeah, that's for sure. But it represents your spirit's connection with one of the primary avatars of one of the gods in the lore of the game. It represents that you're a kindred spirit with that god, I guess. It's a good question.
Great question.
What's our next question?
Next question is, what will the currency be like in the game? And this is from Fierpin.
What will the currency be like? So one of the interesting things that I always thought of whenever I played MMORPGs was that I could go out in the wild and I could kill a wolf, or I could kill a bear or some type of monster, and it would drop gold, or it would drop items. And I just thought that it was kind of a disconnect between the immersion that I experienced in the game and what just made sense, sort of. I mean, I don't know.
No, yeah, I mean, I understand that feeling as well. I think that, we're going to have a single currency. I'm not sure how deep this person wants, if they're asking specifically the name of the currency, but we're gonna have a single currency. Trade is going to be a huge aspect of our game. Buying and selling goods is going to be a huge aspect of our game.
Yeah.
Receiving currency for doing certain actions is a huge aspect of our game. So the economy is definitely something that is in the very forefront of our minds.
And one of the most important aspects of the economy is that we, as you saw in the video, we've regionalized our marketplaces and warehouses so that that trading in the economy is very important for local markets. And currency in the game is going to have greater purchasing power based on the local market you're a part of. Right? Because of the supply and demand that exists in the game and for certain resources and gatherables.
Right. We really want, we want distance to matter. We want the regions themselves to matter. So what you're selling in town A is going to be worth, much different value in town B, town C, etc. So instead of the typical global auction house where, okay, this iron bar is worth X, we want that to be worth different things depending on where the iron is, how hard it is to get the iron, where you currently are, those types of things.
Yeah. All right. Good question.
Great question.
Really important question. When will the Sandals DLC be available?
Oh my gosh. All right. So I'm sure many of you on this stream are currently on our official Discord. If you're not on our official Discord, it is discord.gg/Ashes of Creation. And a very popular meme on there at this moment in time is about my sandals. I was on a flight and on Discord, as I often try to go on Discord every day just to interact with the community, because I feel that community interaction from the developer is extremely important, both for a transparent reason and just the sense that the community should be the focus of an MMORPG. I mean, that's the most important part of an MMORPG is that community. So I want to be in touch as much as possible. Anyways, long story short, I fell asleep, I think, on the flight, and when we landed, I was on Discord, and I looked down, and I had lost my sandals. So I let the Discord know that I lost my sandals, and ever since then, it's been a little bit of a meme about my sandals. They may make an appearance in the game as a very powerful end game loot from some type of world boss. I don't know what world boss is going to wear those sandals.
We'll figure it out.
Well, yeah, maybe it's just a part of a dragon horde. Who knows?
All right.
And what was the question? Will there be?
If there was going to be a sandal DLC.
Yeah, they won't be DLC. It'll come standard.
All right.
Okay.
Sandals confirmed.
Denman20 would like to know, how will loot work in the game? Is it randomly generated, or does only the good gear come from dungeons, quests, etc.?
So to answer that question, good gear does come from dungeons and bosses. Not in the form necessarily that little monsters are going to have them, but like you'll find them in treasure chests. You'll find them, as loot that you can gain through that way, as well as epic world bosses, boss drops, that kind of thing. But also, and very importantly, is we have an extremely intricate and in-depth crafting system. A crafting system that follows sort of a crafting trinity, I guess, in the sense that there are 3 separate paths that you can develop as a player. There is the gathering, there is the processing, and there is the crafting. And each of these paths require advancement, and you can't be a master of all of them as an individual player in order to incentivize other crafters to work with each other, crafters to work with gatherers, gatherers to work with processors, and to play again on that local market scene and the regional economy that we've kind of developed. So to answer your question, crafting is going to be able to create the top gear in the game, but there will be a comfortable blend of epic drops that are also going to be loot that's kind of top gear.
Yeah, and to target the random aspect of that question, there's obviously going to be loot tables, and there's going to be tables that we're drawing from. It's never going to be completely random what you're achieving, so I'm not sure if that's what they were getting at,
Right.
but it's just to clear that up.
Yeah.
Okay. Matt TMXM asks, are all animation placeholders for now? And are we planning to invest in mocap?
Okay, that's a good question. So currently we have one animator on our team, David, and he is amazing at his job. And right now we're really focusing on getting animations up and running for a lot of models so that we can get some activity in the game server that we can use as designers. And we haven't done anywhere near a final pass on animations, nor have we brought on additional animators, but we will be very soon.
Right,
I believe we have a hiring process going out within the next couple of weeks that we're going to be bringing on at least 2 or 3 more animators. So no, to answer your question in the short, animations currently are not indicative of the final product. We are still in a pre-alpha state. We're not in alpha yet. And you can expect that these animations you're seeing are very unpolished and not representative of what they will be when launch comes, or even when alpha comes and beta comes.
Okay. Onavan asks, what was your first MMO, Stephen?
Oh, wow. Let's see. I am 31 years old, and hey, you're getting close to 31. Let's calm down there. And my first MMORPG was actually, and I know a lot of people play around on the internet with this, but it was the first graphical MMORPG. If you look it up, it was the first MMORPG in a graphical way. It was called Neverwinter Nights. It was the first Neverwinter Nights that was on AOL. And this was back in 1992 when I was 7 years old. I was playing on a old gateway that was using Windows operating system 3.1. You had to pay $6 by the hour to play this game because it was through an ISP, AOL. And let's just say, like me at 7 years old, I really didn't have any understanding of what money was, so to speak, or that you could, the internet's cost money. At the end of that month, my first addiction to Neverwinter, let's just say I did not have a very fun conversation with my mother for that bill. But no, that was my first MMORPG. And I think at that point, I really kind of got hooked on the whole aspect of what it was to be a part of a community, I guess. I mean, it's hard to understand that at 7 years old, but you were just flooded with these chats that were like these other people. And I didn't know, the only people I knew were in my grade school.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was definitely an interesting game.
Okay, next question. Amateur Master asks, how will PvP be like?
PvP.
So, okay, that's a big question.
That's a huge question. I think that it's important to note that when making an MMORPG, and having played MMORPGs for such a long time, there needs to be a comfortable balance, a comfortable blend between PvP and PvE. I mean, without an environment that means something, without an environment that takes commitment and growth and effort on part of the player base, you're not really going to have much satisfaction when it comes to PvP and how PvP can catalyze change in the world. So we really took an approach of how can we make PvP meaningful and catalyze change that players will see based on events that may happen either organically or even structured events. So PvP in Ashes of Creation revolves around a few systems. First and foremost, it revolves around a flagging system, and flagging systems aren't something that's new. Flagging systems have existed back since, back in the late 90s. We've taken a little bit of a different approach to the flagging system, however, in regards to what type of penalties people take for murdering others. We don't want to incentivize murder. We don't want this to be a gank box, a murder box, whatever. we really want it to be PvP that's going to be incentivizing players to fight back and defend themselves if they're out in the open world. But more importantly, we have more organized PvP, both in an organic sense and in a structured sense, through our castle system, which castles are kind of like the pinnacle of guild achievements in the game. They exert control over the regions that they exist in and over the nodes that the castles have purview over. There is also a siege mechanic related to our node system, and that kind of allows for the players to institute change among nodes, because the way that nodes develop, they lock out other nodes as they're progressing in stages. And we don't want that lockout to be permanent. We want it to be up to the players to determine whether or not civilization should take a new direction. And sieging nodes is a way that can be done. We have our caravan system, which, again, talking about regionalized marketplaces and economies, the caravans are how we transit goods from those regional places to other places in order to process the goods or sell them in those local markets. And caravans carry with them a static proximity grounds around the caravan, which prompts a player within range to either participate as a defender of that caravan or as a bandit of that caravan, or just not participate at all. It's up to the player. And then lastly, we have guild wars between factions, between guilds that may have some player-driven political issues. You know, we really want the meaning from PvP to be something that's developed by the players.
Right, absolutely. We want them to have to earn something, and we try to make it in such a way where, you know, most players who play MMOs are somewhere in the middle, right? You're a little bit PvP, a little bit PvE, but we went into this realizing that they're also two very distinct populations. Some people, you know, go on the left or right, so to speak, in the situation. And we wanted it to be a loop where PvE is helping PvE and vice versa through the node system and all of the intricacies that are going into that, such as caravans, you know,
Right.
such as fortresses, for
Absolutely.
guilds, such as guild wars.
Yeah.
So we really tried to make that an adequate feedback loop for even if you only do PvE or only do PvP, you are actually affecting and earning throughout with the server, you know,
Yeah.
as it grows.
Great question. It's a
good
very
question.
big topic,
Right.
that we can't fit into one Q&A necessarily. What else we got?
All right, my name is Jack asks, will you be able to, if you wanted, to just craft items in the game? Like, you don't need to fight monsters, you just want to be there for the events and crafting.
So a lot of the progression in the crafting class, which is called your artisan class, isn't necessarily locked behind your adventuring class level. However, there will be certain achievements and or tasks that are given to you in the crafting system that may require you to be a certain level in order to...
And there will definitely be, you know, if you're, let's say for example, you're going out and we keep using iron, so I'll just
Right.
use iron again. But, you know, let's say there's iron out there and it's near, you know, monsters, that there is a spawn nearby. You know, they're not all necessarily going to be super safe areas, but we're also trying to make it so that you can do this class, do the artisan tree, mine ore, and, you know, have a functioning economy yourself to be able to move yourself up without having to necessarily dig into areas that you don't enjoy. We
Right.
really want to make the solo experience personalized
Yes.
to what they want to do.
100%. Yeah, that's true. So to answer your question in short, you absolutely can minimize your involvement in both PvP and or even combat in general, I guess, so to speak, and still advance significantly in the crafting class, the artisan class. But I think to fully reach your potential in that regard, you're going to actually have to get involved in some of the more combat-oriented aspects of the game, not necessarily on a PvP basis, but at
Right.
least versus nature. That's probably going to require some involvement on your end.
Next question.
Yes.
Can we have the beautiful beard man, nameth Bacon, say hi to everybody on the stream?
Oh, Bacon, they want you to wave.
Want me to duck?
Bacon, we got Bacon.
I can't really tell which way
That's
I'm going.
Michael
so.
Bacon. He's a senior artist here at Intrepid Studios and a generalist. He has a wide variety of talents, not just restricted to art, although he is a true master when it comes to anything art related. but the Baconator is definitely big dog here in the studios.
Okay, awesome. Next question, will seasons affect gameplay and or events?
Seasons will absolutely play a role in both gameplay and certain events. And I think Jeffrey Bard, who's our lead designer, he spoke a little bit about in one of our seasons blogs how seasons will impact your environment, how they may close off certain dungeons or open up certain paths that were previously closed to the people. They're going to affect crop rotations. They're going to affect what NPCs are available, what monsters spawn, the visuals of those monsters. We want immersion in our game to be a fully faceted mechanic where you can enter in and you'll feel so many aspects of the world, including seasons and how it affects your time in the game. So we've made sure that it's not just a visual thing.
Right.
It is intrinsic of other game mechanics.
For sure. I think, seasons are a mechanic that we went into thinking that we definitely wanted to include this to have an impact. And to answer that question, I suppose in a concise way, it's going to have an impact. We just need to do testing to essentially say how impactful it's going to be, which degree are we going to end up with. But that's
Right.
something that we'll definitely be keeping everybody updated on throughout the process.
Very true, very true.
Okay.
Good question.
What are we going to do to make summoners great again?
Topical.
I have a feeling I know who wrote that.
Oh no, okay. So, all of the classes in Ashes of Creation, we have 8 archetypes in Ashes of Creation. And many of you know a little bit about our class structure, but for those of you who don't, you're going to enter the game choosing a primary adventuring class. And you're going to choose from one of those 8 archetypes. And there are 4 martial and 4 arcane. You have a fighter, a tank, a rogue, and a ranger. And then you have a mage, a cleric, a bard, and a summoner. And I guess specifically to answer the question in regards to the summoner, summoners are, along with all of our classes, are going to be very, very awesome.
Well, I mean,
How do I answer that? They're going to be great.
I think we
I mean, bigly
understand,
good.
that the summoner, what the summoner's looking for, what the people who play summoner, I should say, what they're looking for. We're trying to orient things like group skills to make them more dynamic, to,
Right.
to have summons to obviously have different summons to make it enjoyable for the person.
Right.
And I think as we get on and we explain our classes in our blogs and in
Yes.
our updates that will be coming soon, that's when we're really going to release more of that
Right,
information.
absolutely. I think one of my favorite aspects of the summoner class in particular is that since we're a non-pay-to-win game, we'll need to rely heavily on cosmetics and your ability to achieve those cosmetics in game and both in the marketplace. But summoner in particular will have the ability to gain custom appearances for their summon pets.
For sure.
And I think it's going to be really interesting to see each character that focuses on their summoner class having a different representation of those cosmetics for their summons.
Right.
And seeing a large diversity that speaks more to the character of who's playing that summoner.
Absolutely. And I mean, this of course, since this is more somewhat of a broad class question as well, you're going to get the augmented skills from
Absolutely.
our classes once you go into, let's say for example, your summoner fighter, your skills are going to change. Your
Reflect
summons
that,
are going to
yeah.
have different things that they're doing,
Yeah.
and we want people to mess with those hybrids. We want them to figure out, wow, this one really fits my play style. This is the summoner I want to be. And we're excited to see people mess around with that. and
Absolutely.
work through it.
Yeah. I think we'll take one more question and then
Okay.
we'll take it from there.
This is from 10D22. How are you planning on doing servers, and will we see merging if a server's player base dies?
That's a good question.
Heavy hitters.
Well, first of all, obviously our goal is to accurately and proportionately populate our servers so that there's a very healthy number of players, and in order to achieve that goal, obviously this Kickstarter is a great start to that.
Right.
But more importantly, having that relationship with the community to help build our community with Ashes of Creation so that we have a strong player base that is large in numbers, really will mitigate the risk in having to consider server merges. But I think that if we were to come up across that issue, it would be a process that's both fair to each of the server populations being considered for that merge.
I mean, it's something we're definitely cognizant of.
Right.
Like, it's not on the back burner. Like, we are always thinking of that in relation to how to move forward. And I think, first step, we're mentioning servers, plural, so
Yes.
we're not thinking a world server, to make sure that's not
Absolutely.
in the thought process there.
Right, multiple servers, we're thinking a very healthy number for the concurrent server usage.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this Q&A, and we're going to be doing Q&As like this 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 3 p.m. Pacific time. I believe that's GMT -7 at the moment, or PDT. So please join us for these Q&As, and we're going to have some guest stars, some streamers who are going to be popping in to chat about the game with us. And we can't reiterate enough just how appreciative we are of the amazing support we've seen so far today in Kickstarter, and what an amazing community that you guys have just developed with us. I mean, if you're not on Discord, go ahead and get on our Discord. If you're not registered, go make sure to register for our site. Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, just the internets in general, I guess. But anyways, thank you guys. We appreciate it. We love you guys.
Thank you.
We'll see you on Wednesday.
Yep, see you soon.